Today, I would like to talk about the lore behind the Stone of Anamara. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to piece together these bits and pieces to form a coherent story, and that is what I would like to show you guys today. But afterwards, I would like to discuss what holes are still left in the story and what questions are still unanswered. But please, enjoy. The story begins in Philadelphia in 1896. Dr. Alexander F. Graves acquires the house of the Roca family and transforms it into the mental asylum for children. Dr. Graves, a man of culture and the church, holds numerous diplomas in medicine and psychology from foreign universities. However, behind his facade, Dr. Graves secretly practices hermeticism, collecting and studying occult items and texts. These are stored in a vault, hidden behind a painting and in a secret room. 10 children reside inside the asylum, along with 2 nurses, Isabella Montero and Corina Mana. Isabella Montero assists Dr. Graves with treatments during the day, while young Corina Mana lives at the asylum, cooking meals, cleaning, and watching over the children at night. In 1901, Anamara Santos, a 6-year-old girl, is admitted to the mental asylum for children. She is treated for what seems like schizophrenia with sedative medication and clinical interviews. She suffers from episodes of uncontrollable violence and self-harm by scratching herself. Dr. Graves suspects that Anamara might be possessed by a demon. 1902. Throughout the year, Anamara's condition worsens, and Dr. Graves becomes desperate. He asks his confidant, Priest Samuel, to contact the Archbishop for an exorcism. Samuel writes back, explaining that it's unlikely the exorcism will be approved, and advises Dr. Graves to perform the ritual himself. But this letter doesn't arrive on time and is left unopened. Anamara, playing outside, makes a drawing depicting a sad version of herself and the house possessed by a demonic spirit. Unknown to Dr. Graves is that Anamara has a protective amulet, the Stone of Anamara, that keeps her safe from the demon. But one night, Anamara loses the amulet, rendering her vulnerable to the demonic entity. May 9th, at 6:55 a.m., the demon kills Anamara in the bathtub of the house, cutting and shredding her with its teeth and claws. Nurse Mana is awoken by the noise and discovers Anamara's mutilated body. In a state of shock, she tries to evacuate the children. Dr. Graves and Nurse Montero arrive and find the panicked children and the distressed Nurse Mana. Dr. Graves heads upstairs. He knows what happened here, knowing Nurse Mana couldn't have committed the act. Dr. Graves and Nurse Montero agree to lock the bathroom door and keep going and not tell anyone. Nurse Mana, still shaking from the whole situation, reluctantly agrees. That evening, Dr. Graves contacts Anamara's spirit using the Ouija board. Anamara responds, telling Dr. Graves he can still save her by completing the ritual. The next morning, May 10th, Dr. Graves writes a note. As Graves puts down his pen, he hears a knock on his door. It was Nurse Mana, still in the same shocked state as the day before, pale and anxious. We have to tell someone. The police. Corina, please, sit down. You look awful. No, I'm going to the police right now. Graves heads into the bathroom cabinet and gets a pain pill and a glass of water. Here, this will calm you down. Reluctantly, Nurse Mana takes the pill. Dr. Graves walks out of the office and locks the door behind him. Dr. Graves works on the ritual in his secret room, drawing a pentacle on the floor. Hours go by as he's preparing everything for the ritual. He walks back to the office to check with Nurse Mana, but as he enters the office, he sees an open window. Nurse Mana escaped to the police. The clock is ticking. Graves has to finish the ritual to save Anamara. Dr. Graves writes the second note. He tries to finish the ritual, but it's too late. The police, alerted by Nurse Mana, arrive and arrest Dr. Graves and Nurse Montero. The children are taken to a local hospital until their parents can be located. The police inspect the asylum, but suspend their search due to hearing strange voices, and plan to return on May 13th with an inspector from the capital. On May 11th, the local newspaper headline reads, "Frightful Murder in the Asylum." On May 13th, Ezekiel, an escaped prisoner, arrives at the asylum while fleeing the police. He stumbles upon Dr. Graves' notes and sets the broken clock to 6:55. Anamara's spirit appears and opens the office door. Here, Ezekiel learns more about Dr. Graves and the asylum. He uses the radio and breaks a glass frame, revealing the code to a vault that was hidden behind the painting. Unlocking the vault, he sees a book about pentagrams and an Ouija board. When he uses the Ouija board, Anamara's spirit tells him to head upstairs. But Ezekiel goes into the bathroom, and the demonic spirit locks the door behind him. With no way out, Ezekiel looks in the bathroom and in the cabinet finds a pain pill. He takes it and passes out. And he hears strange voices. But as he wakes up, he notices the door has been opened and that there is writing on the mirror, reading "kitchen." Ezekiel heads to the kitchen and notices that he is starving. He makes some soup. In the corner of the kitchen, there's a dumbwaiter, and when he opens it, the demonic entity reveals itself, startling Ezekiel. Ezekiel knew something strange was going on inside this asylum, and he creeps up the stairs, and the door creaks open, and he says to himself, "I need to find out who that girl is." That is what I believe is the story of the Stone of Anamara. The main thing that I had to fill out was it's mainly who alerted the police and how Dr. Graves knew the police were coming, because he writes in a note, "The police are coming for me." That's why I came up with this idea of Nurse Mana escaping and alerting the police. We also see an opened window in the office, which is unexplained, and this was a way for me to put that into the story as well. Another thing that wasn't clear to me was the secret room. One thing I was trying to figure out was, when does he build this secret room, or when does he start studying this occultism, these things about talismans and amulets and pentagrams and such. And for the longest time, I convinced myself that this was a recent thing, a recent thing he picked up because he just didn't know what to do, how to help Anamara. And I thought of it was like that because he has this instruction card in his pocket. But because you can see that this card is torn, because he immediately reaches for the Ouija board, believe it is more plausible that he has actually been into this this occultism for a longer time. It's also implied that maybe he doesn't have a degree in psychology and medicine, because it specifically says he has these diplomas from foreign universities. And I think that might be a very subtle way of saying by Gabriel that these are fake diplomas. To me, it kind of sounds like he's not a real doctor, and he is trying to conduct these trying to experiment with these rituals and experimenting with that on and with these children, which I think is very interesting and could be very interesting to explore in the second chapter of the game that we are currently writing, which is why I tried to figure out the story of the first game, because then it gives us a lot of clues of how to continue. Yeah, another thing to piece together was there needs to be someone with the children at night. It is not implied in the story in any way, but it just seems like a common knowledge thing. Like it's not implied in the game at all that either of the nurses or Dr. Graves stays and lives at the asylum. And all we know is that Dr. Graves wasn't present at the time of the murder, because he had Anamara tell him at what time the murder took place. And I believe the last big question I have is the drawing in the sandbox. Is it just a creepy drawing, or does it have any story relevance? Like, is there a way to interpret the drawing? Because to me, what the drawing told me was that the demonic entity and Anamara are two separate entities. That's basically what the drawing told me, because I was also playing with this theory that that Anamara and the demonic entity are one thing. That Anamara is possessed by this thing and turns into this thing, and that this thing takes over and scratches her. Hence the self-harm and the self-scratching. And also hence the similar appearance of Anamara and the demon, both having this ghostly white image in the video game. But the main issue with that was this drawing that specifically shows that the demon is inside the house, which might tell us that Anamara didn't bring this demon to the asylum, but that the demon was already inside the asylum, maybe summoned by Graves, unintentionally or intentionally. And the other thing, which completely cut off this theory for me, was that the demon has to kill Anamara, which could be like a suicide, but that it seems more complicated and less plausible to me. So these are just a bunch of thoughts. Please let me know in the comments if you spot any paradoxes or plot holes or unexplained things, and please let me know what you think of my construction of the lore, and if you agree with it or disagree with it, please let me know your thoughts, and thank you so much for listening.